Hello and welcome to City Corner, an ongoing program where we talk with council and staff about what's happening in our city. I'm Hollie Logan, Communications and Marketing Manager, and joining me today is the Director of Richland Energy Services, Clint Whitney. Welcome.
Hollie, thank you for having me today.
Yes, it's great to have you here, Clint. Let's get started today. Tell us a little bit. You've been in your position now about 6 months as the Director of Richland Energy Services, but you've been with the city about 20 years.
Yep, it's coming up on 21 years next month.
Is that right?
Actually, this month, and for me, it's been exciting. I've been able to started with electrical distribution engineer at the city, and did that for about 9 years, and worked over in operations as a supervisor for a number of years, and as the chief electrical engineer and an engineering and operations manager. And so I'm thrilled to be the energy services director and to serve our citizens.
That's great. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, aside from your career? Are you born and raised Richland or Tri-Cities?
Tri-Cities is home. I graduated high school here, college local as well, CBC WSU.
Wow.
And kids are married, and kids are grown and out of the house, and so it's hard to believe. And one lives locally and employed, and then another one works for another electric utility in northern Spokane area.
Oh, cool. Well, tell us a little bit about your management style and the direction that you want to take with the department.
Management style, I've always considered myself to be collaborative or participative, and that's I'm trusting by nature, and so I try to empower our employees, engage with them, and that's a style that works well with those. It's a hard question to answer because it really depends on the situation.
Sure.
And there are times when as a manager there is not time to be collaborative or participative, and a decision's got to be made. And so there are times that I'll revert to being directive and making a decision on that. So depends on the situation, but however, in general it's collaborative or participative.
That's great. How many employees do you oversee at the City of Richland Energy Services Department?
City's Energy Services, we have 62 employees in the city working for the electric utility, 62 and a half employees.
To be exact.
Exactly. And halves matter.
That's right.
And so it's a good number, and we're very fortunate to be able to rely on resources across the city, whether that's in our billing department, our HR department, and so our cable communications awesome department.
There you go.
And so although we're only 62 and a half employees within our department, the city in itself has a lot of resources for us to utilize.
That's great. And so within the department, do you have some divisions?
So within Energy Services, we have 5-6 departments, divisions that actually support one another, and they're many. You can kind of think of them as mini departments, and one of them is our power operations department, and it contains our linemen and our folks that are out there doing restoration and maintaining our electrical infrastructure. And we have our meter power protection shop within systems division, and that helps maintain our substations, all of our meters, and our substation transformers. We have a electronics shop that it supports our traffic signals and our radio infrastructure, and then an electrician shop that supports our city facilities for their electrical needs. We have an engineering division and a power conservation division, and so it's a full department with a number of divisions supporting one another.
Yeah, that's great. So Clint, can you share a little bit with us about our energy conservation programs that we have here at the city?
Absolutely. It's another one of our programs that I think is adds a tremendous value for our customers. And within Energy Services, the city's Energy Services Department, we offer a conservation program to do loans on energy conservation devices, say heat pumps, windows, insulation, and there are others besides those programs. And I think the biggest value that one of the biggest values that we offer for customers is the inspection portion of the home conservation program. And so after a contractor installs the equipment, our department will actually go out and provide that inspection to make sure it was done correctly and to the most efficient reason for our customer. And so that in my mind is an area that we provide services for our customers, and it provides a peace of mind after a contractor's done an installation.
So this, for example, you have a home that was built in the 1980s, which may not have been as energy efficient as our homes are today. So would we send out an inspector to a home if you feel as though you could decrease your energy usage?
Well, there are several ways to do it, and it can be by you can start by contacting our Energy Services Department and directly. It can also be done through a contractor and approved contractor to come out and inspect the customer's equipment. And then the third is just determined by the customer themselves. Homes, heat pumps, generally our life expectancy is about 15 years. And so after a certain amount of time, it's time to replace that equipment. Even though the heat pump might have been state of the art in the 1980s or earlier, there are new equipment today that can operate more efficiently and provide more comfort for the customers. And so there are opportunities to do that, and I would start by suggesting calling our Energy Services Department.
Okay, thanks for explaining that a little bit more for me. In contrast to other jurisdictions in our area, Richlands Electric Utility is owned and operated by the city. What are the advantages of this?
Being an electric municipal, it's rewarding for us to be able to give back to our customers. City municipals were we're the third largest in Washington State, behind City of Seattle and City of Tacoma.
Wow.
Right? And so that's an unusual place to be, and so electric municipals, we're able to provide for our customers without an investor aspect or worrying about shareholders and stockholders.
Sure.
Our customers are our customers, and that's who we work for.
Yeah. Expanding on that, since we are citizen-owned, a utility owned by citizens, how is this decision-making process organized?
So we have a public input process through a couple areas. One of them is the Utility Advisory Committee and UAC, and they help provide guidance, recommendations, along with staff to council. And City Council is ultimately our decision makers for rates and for budgets and policy decisions.
How many people participate on the UAC?
Yeah, on our Utility Advisory Committee, we have 7 members, and these are volunteers from the public, and with a cross-section of diverse experience from finance, from technical, and utility operations. And so they help provide a balance to staff and provides that diversity
Sure.
for council. And then of course we have our council who ultimately makes the decisions.
Sure. No, that's great. What are the most urgent power supply issues that we have in the Northwest?
Well, as many of us know, we get all of our power from Bonneville, and historically, and that's Bonneville Power Administration, and Bonneville system is really tapped out, maxed out, and so our contract is with Bonneville through 2028. However, that is a contract that will be renegotiated in the upcoming years. Takes at least 4 to 6 years ahead of time to negotiate a contract of that size and complexity. And so our regional issues include our wholesale power, obtaining resources in the long term, and then that's also going to involve renewables. In our near future, 2023 time periods, we'll be looking to obtain additional renewable resources to help augment what Bonneville provides to us and what our customers are looking for.
And that's not something that we would be generating. As a city, again, it would be something that we would be purchasing from.
That's correct.
Okay.
We do not generate any power, and so we have to obtain our power from either Bonneville or from non-federal resources.
Okay. You mentioned low-cost power as a priority.
Yes.
What is the city doing to keep our electric rates as low as possible?
Well, we're always looking to see what the lowest resources are out there, and Bonneville on a wholesale market is about, on average, about 3.5 cents a kilowatt hour. And so there are currently some non-federal resources that we're securing in the short term that are a little less than Bonneville. And so we'll be looking to secure non-federal resources above what our BPA needs are, and then of course using technology to maximize our efficiencies as we go forward.
Sure.
And I think we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute.
Yeah. When you say non-federal, are you referring to more maybe wind energy, solar, private companies?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's private companies, and it's one of our contracts is currently with Shell Energy.
Okay.
And then TransAlta is another one that you have some near-term contracts with, short-term contracts. And that is available in the market, a little less than Bonneville currently. And it's of course we're going to look for the lowest cost possible. Sure. Generally, that's Bonneville, and however, with our system is a growing system here in Richland, we're having to look to expand beyond what BPA has allocated for us.
Okay. Do we expect any rate changes in the coming year?
Well, unfortunately, change is always coming,
Sure.
and sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's bad. And in 2018, we had a 6.5% rate increase, electric utility increase, and we look forward. We do a lot of long-term planning, and one of them is forward rate planning. And so currently we're looking at about 7.5% in the 2020 time period, and then we try to minimize rate increases as much as possible, and for the services that we provide, and then also try to minimize them to about every other year if possible.
Is that kind of standard inflation, you think, over the course of a couple of years that you see industry-wide?
Well, it's in some cases it is. In some cases, inflation has been as low as 2% lately. And a lot of our rate increases are driven by our wholesale power costs. And wholesale power is about 60 to 65% of our total costs. And so which is significant. And when we have Bonneville, BPA maybe averaging 5.5% a year. So we minimize the costs as much as we can. We absorb them where we can. We try to use operational efficiencies to the best that we can. And however, there are rate increases that are necessary to keep the reliability of the infrastructure and the services we're currently providing.
Great. So what changes can our citizens expect in the coming year in their energy services?
Well, I mentioned always striving to improve our operational effectiveness, and one of the ways that we plan to do that is through technology. And so we are looking at possibly a smart grid project that will provide us information on where to invest our capital infrastructure dollars budget to the best that we can on that. Is rather than using people's opinions, it's use the technology to identify where to invest those dollars in the budget.
And with the smart grid, it allows, can you explain that just a little bit more, of what that technology is?
Well, the foundation of smart grid is perhaps what some folks would maybe realize as an advanced metering infrastructure. So it starts with technology at the meter, being able to relay on what the usage patterns are back to the city, and along with that comes information is with where the highest usage is and where reliability is lower than it should be, or where we would expect it to be. And so we strive for high reliability, and that smart grid, that metering infrastructure, can help us provide that information as to where reliability and usage is not matching. And then with that technology, then we'll be able to invest budgets to improve our system for our customers.
Will that also help with outages, for identifying that?
And responding to them, yes. And so currently, when we have an outage, it's a deluge of phone calls, which is it gets the blood flowing, and it makes for very exciting moments and stressful moments on that. And so technology will allow us to know when that outage occurred, where the outage occurred, and then also allows us to be able to dispatch the crews quickest, rather than on relying on people to direct us or to maybe even guess on that. That technology will direct us to the problem locations, and so that the outages can be, time and durations can be reduced. And so while we encourage and we love hearing from our customers, I think that's a piece of technology that will go a long ways to comforting folks to know that we know they're out of power and we're working on it.
So how reliable is our energy distribution system?
Well, I think we've got one of the more reliable systems in the U.S. And we're fortunate not to have the natural disasters of hurricanes, tornadoes, and so our reliability problems come from aging infrastructure and maybe some squirrels here and there, and an occasional tree branch.
Sure.
And so with our reliability, our numbers are about one outage a year per customer. And typically in that 60 to 90 minute duration. Okay. It's a number that is low nationwide. However, it's a number that we're going to continue to drive down. We want to invest in our reliability of our system, our aging infrastructure, and then continually to improve the reliability.
What are some of the things people can do, citizens can do, as far as their trees go? Do we have a tree trimming program that helps? You mentioned that in regards to outages. Yes,
we can. We have a few areas that are very helpful for our customers, and one of those areas is a tree trimming program. if a tree calls into our number, and I'm sure we'll share that number here in a minute, and we can have a crew come out, inspect the tree, inspect the distribution line, and then make a determination as to whether that tree needs to be on a tree trimming program, or if it's a tree that's a difficult tree and just maybe needs to get removed. And so it has to be impactful to the distribution system. It's not a program that we do tree trimming otherwise.
For aesthetics?
Yeah. No, it's definitely to improve our reliability of our system.
Sure. I mean, we do tend to get a windstorm every now and again here, so
it does blow on occasion.
We can remove some of those stubborn limbs that might cause issues.
Yeah.
Are there any other things you would like to share with our citizens about our electric utility?
Well, I'm pleased to be the director, and I look forward to improving our system beyond where we're at now. And we've got some great employees, and we're poised to be able to use some technology to make some impactful improvements for our customers. And so I'm looking forward to helping to serve our customers.
Okay, well, I want to thank Clint Whitney for coming on our program today. If you have any questions about our Energy Services Department or the city in general, the best place to start is the city's website at the link at the bottom of your screen. Thanks for joining us on this edition of City Corner. I'm Hollie Logan.